Hi everyone, welcome to Latency and Latte. Today I'm chatting with Manthan Patel. Actually, he does not need any introduction. The mind behind LeadGen. If you have spent any time on LinkedIn or Instagram lately, you have probably seen his post on AI, automation, and NetN blowing up. What I really like is how he breaks complex tech into things anyone can understand. It's not just tutorials, it's real teaching. We got into a bit of everything today, his journey, how he learned along the way, and the behind the scenes of working with tools like N8N, infrastructure, and compute. It's not a formal chat, more like two people talking over coffee about what it takes to build and figure things out from scratch. Hi, Manthan. I'm super excited to have you here on my podcast, Latency and Latte. How are you?
Yeah, living the dream, as they say. And thanks for having me.
Thank you. Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So, I have been following your posts lately, especially the one about N8N and automation building blocks, workspace, node, trigger, and flow. The other day, I was struggling with an N8N workflow, and honestly, your post came into my mind, and I was making it overcomplicated myself. And then now, the way you explained it clicked me right. I wanted to start with that. Let's take that point. Can
Awesome.
you tell me a little bit about what inspired you to share these kind of posts and help so many people understand automation better?
Yeah, the thing about N10 and all of this no-code, low-code platform is
Mhm.
they allow everyone, like literally everyone, to start their automation journey or even start connecting their different apps, talk with each other without having their any coding experience or writing a single line of code. So I thought like there is a big market share or marketplace because I know it's so intuitive and so much easier. For example, having to use Claude Code Cursor for developers. They are
Right.
they are very adaptive, they can easily get started with, but that's not the same case with non-technical people. That's why having this type of no-code low-code automation tools really help them, and the market share is really big. Let's say the entire world 10% are developers, but the rest of 90% won't even understand what is an HTTP or API. That's why,
Right.
yeah, that's why I thought like it's the best place to get started because we will be able to cover big market share and able to win big.
Absolutely. When you start digging out into those low code, no code automation tool, and after seeing your post, you make complex things feel simple. And speaking of starting out, I wanted to know about your journey. You started very young, and what were some challenges you faced being so early in your journey?
Yeah, talking about challenges, the first thing was I was like a full tech coder. I was coding for more than 4 years, but the challenges I thought like I faced was transitioning myself to this no code low code guy or like any 10 guy, and I love coding by far, but it's I have spent like 4 years every single night just debugging small issues or a small line of code that was making the whole mess. Whereas these beautiful automation platforms, they make it very intuitive and very friendly, easier for everyone to get started with. That's why I the challenges I faced was I was solving lead code, gigs for gigs every single day, every single night. But then I realized that that's not going to take me anywhere. I was making, uh, talking about the financials thing, I was making more money in my bachelor's, and I really figured out that I, I will not be able to make the same money if I were working at FANG or any MNC jobs. So the challenge I faced, like convincing my family, convincing myself even that it's possible uh, to, because it's not a traditional role, to be honest. Everyone, I come from India, and
Right.
everyone here is trained to have get a degree, have a 9 to 5, get married. So that's the convention route, and I have to defy that by going against the odds. And yet that will be the challenging phase, but it has paid so much. I mean, in financial, in matter of fame, power, etc.
Absolutely. And Indian parents, we have a SOP. First, get your degree and then just do whatever you want. You should have degree in your hand. And that's really impressive, how you turned your early curiosity into something tangible. And now I'm curious, how did you go from learning stuff yourself to actually creating a lead gen man? How did that idea come about?
Yeah, it all started, I would say, 1.5 years ago when I got that mail from Albert Moore. So he's a VC founder of company vectorshift.ai. So he
Mhm.
messaged me on 31st December 2023, and I replied him like, at the 1st January 2024, and that's where my journey begins. So it's a
Awesome.
cliche, like, so he messaged me, can you help us to get started with their automation platform? So they are like AI automation platform, and we were working together. We were making the platform very accessible to everyone, that even every that anyone coming from even non-technical background get started with that platform. So that's where my journey started, and we were actually building AI agents back
Okay.
then when AI agents were not even a thing. So that got me a leap forward, or a like first mover advantage, where I don't have to learn it myself. I just have to teach it, or I just have to share content that's worthy of it.
Awesome. So when you first launch it, how did a typical day look like for you? Since you said you started in early 24, and how was your typical day that time?
Yes, like my just seventh sem got completed, and eighth sem is in India, it's usually internship. So obviously I didn't attend any internship. I created a fake resume or fake CV of the internship, and I worked like every single waking hour. I worked with all of these VC-backed companies and their founders, getting
Mhm.
one-on-one touch with them. And the thing is, I was working all day, all night long, every single waking hour. Means no one can work 24 by 7. Yeah, so that was really into it, and I never looked back into it. And the thing is, I really want to mention is the compounding effect. So let's say you work like 365 a day, and you improve 1% every single day. So that's not like 365%, you will be much more better at the end of the year. It's around like 3,700. So that's how compounding works. Even if you create content, even if you build your own startup, something like it, if you improve 1% every single day, it does not have to be a quantum leap, right? It shouldn't like with end of this weekend I will be like the best person in the world. It shouldn't be like that. You should have the mentality to be in this game for long, and that's where you will see that compounding effect.
Absolutely. Consistency and discipline is exactly bring you into notice. Even for the LinkedIn also, consistency has to be there. You have to post consistently. Some post clicks, other don't click it. And you need that discipline, consistency, motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just matter. Like there is this beautiful quote by Alex Hermosi, like sheer volume negates luck. The thing about volume is you will get better feedback. Let's say if I am posting like 5 times a day on LinkedIn, I will be able to generate like 150 posts at the end of the month. Now, in of 150 posts, none of them are like most of them are not going to get viral, but I will get that feedback from the audience that, hey, is this the pain point that they are looking after, or is this the point they want or not want? And whatever they want, we will double down on that on the next month. And that's where you will get quick feedbacks as compared to someone who is posting like once a week, right? They will be able to just, yeah, exactly, you are just going to crush that entire space. You will be able to, you will actually understand the human psychology. It's all about human psychology, and at the end of the day, because I remember when I started my Instagram, yeah, after like going with 100K on LinkedIn, I needed something else in my life to make
Yeah.
it happening. So we started on Instagram. And the thing that I saw there, people were there already before me with having, let's say, 10,000, 20,000 followers. And I started there, and we grew to like 150K in just 3 months. And those people are still having that 20 or 30,000 following, because they are just posting like, again, like this is going to be a content creation session.
Yeah.
Sorry for that, but yeah,
No,
so
no,
they
no.
were.
It's actually very useful and valuable. I have seen a lot of people are coming out of silos, talking about the tech and the content creation, and they are seeing that value, especially you as an expert adding to it. So please go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That was the case. Like, even if I was very late, all I had to do is just like post on daily basis, get the feedback, double down on what's working with the audience, and you
Yeah.
will see results far more than. And those guys still, I'm not cursing those guys. Like they are my very good friends, but they are still at having the same number of following with same number of these, because they are not willing to try something new on their own. They have got the comfortable, and that's why like we started on LinkedIn, we started on Instagram. We once we achieve our desired number, we switch platforms, so that we are kind of creating that omnipresence. Because
Yeah.
uh, I saw that interview of 11 Labs founder. So so when they were starting out, they were very excited to get on a traditional media press or traditional like a newspaper, let's
Yeah.
say. CNBN, etc. So they were very, very like excited for it. They were preparing it for long. They invested on so much of these interviews, and once those interviews got published, like they aren't seeing any spike in their website or their analytics. Yeah, maybe some of the people have read about 11 labs, that's it. But when they were doing the same thing with hacker news, when they posting about Reddit, because Reddit users get on things very quickly, when they were posting about this vices. So that's why I realized traditional media is long gone. It is not coming
Yeah.
ever back.
Yeah.
And you need to post content where your audience is. For example, 11 lab is a great example. Reddit people, hacker news people, and all of this tech crunch, all of this tech Twitter will do much better than posting your newsletter or posting your publication on like this traditional media.
Absolutely. Understanding your stakeholders are very important. Even if it's a tech content creation or business, standing audiences are equally
Yeah,
important.
yeah, 100%. And that's why like I shifted myself as well. So we move all into this lead gen side of things, combining with AI automation, because at the end of the day, business don't care even if you are using AI automation, AI agents. All they care is, are they getting the result, or are we fulfilling the KPIs? That's it. Yeah, that's the core shell of the any business.
100%. And it's incredible to hear how much you had to juggle in the early days. Now look at your audience. As you said, 140K on LinkedIn and almost 150K on Instagram. I think the number might have grown by now.
Yeah, it's just vanity metrics. Numbers are vanity metrics. Yeah.
Yeah, and 200K students you have already taught them. So let's talk about how you approach building that audience and creating content that actually resonates. So, for example, here, how did you approach creating content and building trust with your audience? As you already said, you have to consider your audience here. You have to understand their pain points. But how did you approach that?
Yeah, so to be honest, it's fairly easy because
Mhm.
there are not a lot of people who is creating content that
Mhm.
is like genuinely valuable. Yeah, there are so many YouTubers, there are so many meme pages or something like that. But there is, I'm seeing there is immense amount of desire or immense amount of like supply needed from the content creation side of things,
Mhm.
and those people should make technology accessible to everyone without feeling them overwhelming. So the core thing you need to understand is you are speaking to everyone and not particular person. So you are trying to solve problem of everyone, and you have to start your content from there. I cannot
Right.
start straight away from this is the biggest end-to-end workflow I have ever built, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So it has to be a baby step, one step at a time, where you are breaking every node or whatever particular thing that you are doing. Either you are developing, let's say, AI agents by using LangGraph, Crew AI. You need to break down step by step. You need to understand the basis or the foundation, and then you can start moving into the deeper stage of the building.
Absolutely. That make me curious. Can you walk us through your thinking when you break an down for beginners? How do you decide what to focus on first, and how do you keep it simple without skipping the nuances?
Yeah, makes sense. The thing you need to understand is people don't care about how many nodes or how big your N10 workflow is, like or any other thing as compared to N10. You just need to understand what's the pain point or what's the problem that this particular automation workflow is going to solve, and how it's going to do that, and the end result that they will be getting. So in any of my videos, I start like this: Hey, this is the problem that you are facing or you might be facing. This is how you should approach it. I'm not talking about any particular node. Hey, use this HTTP request, use this code function. They don't care about that. Everyone just care about, oh, it is solving my problem, like what's the approach to it and what will be the end result. So I think if you start from there, if you try to break down these 3 points very clearly in the starting of any content creation, either it could be a long form YouTube video or even a LinkedIn post, and then you can start going into the nouns or nitty gritty details of this workflows. I think by doing that, people will actually have the idea what's the end or what's the entire post or content is about. Otherwise, they are just as lost as we are.
100%. And I loved your tip about grouping related notes and labeling everything. And honestly, my workflow, when I started, it was messy visually and technically also. And after seeing a lot of your posts, I got much better clarity. And how did you develop these habits? How do you do this intuitively now? Was it a trial and error?
100%. This entire game is obviously trial and errors, but again, it's just about feedbacks. So the other day, I just got message from one of my creators friend, and she's having like more than 500K followings, but she was kind of struggling with those inbound brand deals or sponsorship deals. So she messaged me, can we do something about, can we create an automation that will outreach to these brands and saying that, hey, we have this much of a following, reach, etc. So again, like you just need to take feedback from external, from your friends, peers, audience, because I get like hundreds of DMs every single like
Yeah.
week on LinkedIn. So all I need to do is just analyze what they are like, what the problem that they are facing, and I build that automation for her, and it will be finding the brand collaboration or brand deals for her every single day. So again, take feedback from your audience and double down on that.
Absolutely. That's a very important point here. Just take feedback and then work around it. I'm ardent follower of your post, and I like your post about the AI agent gold rush. Many people get lost trying to use 50 different tools. I love your minimal setup idea, design, framework, database, memory, and testing here. So, can you tell us why you think it's so important to start simple, especially for someone building their first production agent?
The thing, we are right now living in the world where we have several and thousands of alternatives we can use for simple product. For example, even because the market is not for any monopoly. Now we live in the age where everyone has market share, for this example. But the best thing you can get started with is just to start simple, just to have the creality, uh, because we were in that particular loop when, in the age of, I believe like 2000, 2000 decades or 2010 decades, where ideas were dime a dozen and the execution was moot because execution was really hard. But now execution is kind of easy because we are living in this age of AI where we have all of these, let's say, tools like Claude Code, Lovable, that we can easily start creating. And now again, we are in the loop where idea are always a dime a dozen. They are still are, but the thing is, your ideas need to be really good. So the execution part is very simple. So you don't need to overcomplicate that thing by using 50 different tools. Just pick one which is relevant for a use case or for a product, and then just get your MVP done, or just get your first 100 users. And once you have that feedback, you can easily set up your, for example, everyone getting started with, let's say, which database to use Supabase. That's simple as it is. I know Supabase is not that scalable, but at least get the audience feedback, or what, yeah, or what's the product market fit. And once you have investor money coming in, once you have the right amount of people that you can work with, you can obviously change. But it's all, people love to overcomplicate simple things. That's what I said. That's the problem. Just start simple, just get started. That's what my end goal here is.
100% sense here that start with simple and then you can build it. And I saw one of your posts also where you were talking about SLMs versus LLMs,
Yeah.
and how should business how should businesses decide the when a smaller model is enough, and can you give an example where this which made a real impact in the workflow or a cost wise?
Now we are moving into that phase where local businesses need their own LLM. Or
Mhm.
for example, because if you are dealing with clients who are in HVAC, who are in healthcare, they don't want to compromise their data. For
Right.
instance, they cannot feed the data to OpenAI or Anthropic servers because it's an, even if they, it's an compliant thing, because they need to be compliant or they will lose their license. That's why this role of SLM or open source large language models, which you can host it locally and run it forever for free. One of the best example is GPT OSS 20 billion or 120 billion parameters, DeepSeek R1, Mistral, Llama, etc. So these type of models you can easily self-host locally for those type of businesses, so that you are not compromising, because your data is staying with you within your servers, and you're not compromising the data of your audience, sorry, of your patients or of your users to OpenAI servers. And that's where this type of models, for example, fee data of Microsoft, that is like as an SLM, you can easily use those to help businesses get started with their own AI automation or own AI journey. And that's because we have implemented this in one of the healthcare system where we have our own local database by using Milvus. Milvus is the biggest open source vector database, most GitHub star repo. Then we were using GPT OSS as our brain, and we were all hosting self-hosting it locally to provide value to the business. I still believe that people should now try to be a journalist. Yeah, because the thing is, I was coding all day, all night long, and I knew at some stage of my life, this thing is going to be automated, or this thing can be done way better by using AI than any human can do. So I think like obviously you need to be special at something or be a specialist at something, but the core premise is be kind of a product manager where you know nouns about everything, but AI can take part of that particular thing. So if you are generalist, you can genuinely be so much better than someone particular in one particular field. Because the thing is, let's talk about PhD, right? The thing you learn in PhD, I have never done any PhD, so I'm not an expert. But the thing about PhD is learning. You always have to be student of life, or you have to be always learning. And once you will realize that the thing can be done by AI, you need to step back. You don't need those PhD degrees nowadays. I'm talking about the present moment. So the kind of learning that I believe from my own perspective, it's my opinion. Try not to be like very crunchy into one thing that won't be available after 5 to 10 years, right? Because of use, or that can be automated by using AI. So try to take a step back forward. Just imagine where you want to be in 20 years, and make sure that that particular job role is still relevant, or it's not going to anywhere. Otherwise, whatever number of hard works or whatever years that you have poured down, it's just going to be vanish. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And always think about I always get this question like, is my job is going to change, or what's going to change by using AI? But you should like do a reverse thinking. It's the thinking fundamentals by Jeff Bezos. Like, what's not going to change in 20 years? People always asking like what's going to change, but his answer or his another question back to them is what's not going to change. Because the thing is, we cannot predict nowadays like what's going to even happen fast forward 6 months, because there are so many things going on right now, and it's so hard to predict. So it's better to rely on what's not going to change. For his example of Jeff Bezos, what their customer, Amazon customer, is never going to say they need better delivery or they need lower prices. That's not going to change ever. So you can easily predict and make judgment on those particular things than to just forecast what's going to happen after 10 years, 20 years. It's better to yeah, it's better to rely on those things. For failures, I I would say like I was kind of great. I was kind of lucky, to be honest, where I had like everything where whenever I wanted. So for failures, obviously every single day whenever we are waking up, there will be some failure moment in your life. But you need to be thinking that, hey, here you are from the long term game. It's not like that you do one thing for a month and you expect to be like the best at or top notch level to it. So you are obviously going to get failed, but the thing is, again, just get the feedback, improve upon your failures, reiterate, and you will be much better again, it's just matter of compounding effect. So for failures and setbacks, I would say just keep moving forward one step at a time. And you don't need to have a quantum leap, or you don't need to solve everything tomorrow. Just start anywhere, start from somewhere, and then just take one move forward, and the road will be seen. Like it's always light at the end of the tunnel, but you just need to move toward the end.
Yeah, I believe taking each day as it comes. That could be your motivation also, maybe. This is how you stay motivated when things get tough. Now, I want to take a peek into the future. Where do you see AI agents and automation going in the next few years?
It's all about the compute.
Yeah.
I still believe, for example, the biggest complaint that we have been, even I am been facing with Anthropic is the
Mhm.
limitation of tokens, right? Whenever I'm using Cloud Code, I'm just getting like limited by the token usage.
Yeah.
So the future will be for those who has the compute, and for compute, you need to have energy
Mm.
sources like
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not talking about nuclear energy. I'm talking about wind energy, water energy, and all of these energy plants. So it's just about the limitation, because for instance, Anthropic or OpenAI are limited in compute,
Yeah.
because for example they are getting the compute power from Nvidia or other providers, but they are limited. And the future will be, I believe, of these AI agents moving to the spaces once at a time. OpenAI or Anthropic will they have own chips. And
Yeah.
the thing about it's not about creating your own chip, it's about controlling your destiny. So whoever has the biggest number of compute, for example, if Anthropic were given the double amount of compute right now, they will double
Mhm.
their revenue. How they can double their revenue? They can increase the amount of token usage per user. They can charge more for that, and they can obviously grow revenue from that. So I believe whichever nation will have more compute, and for compute we need more energy. Whichever is going to win. That's why I believe like every country should have their own large language models that can understand the diversity culture. I'm not talking about it should be have the best. Like it's so hard to compete against Anthropic and OpenAI. Yeah, and because like they are the biggest player, they have the first mover advantage. But I still believe every nation or every country should have their own large language models, as in like we have like infrastructure over here, because that's the future of AI or this AI agent space. I hope you're able to relate my point here.
Of course, and this morning I have shared one post and I got a very interesting numbers here. Data centers, they will consume
Mhm.
almost 1600 terawatt hours by 2035. That is nearly 5% of the world's electricity. And all I could think was we are building intelligence that might outspace the infrastructure that powers it.
Exactly. We just need more compute, and
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing is like we cannot say like we need more compute. We have to build those infrastructure or build those energy plants behind it to process those compute, and we can process it to this AI space, because we can like be moving really fast if we are not limited in number of compute.
100%. Let's switch gear here a little bit about NET and workflow. So, with such a strong following, it's clear people really trust your guidance. That brings me to something I wanted to dig into your tech content. For people who might not know, NetN is basically an automation tool that lets you connect apps and build workflows without writing tons of code. It's a low code, no code tool. And just to be clear, this conversation is not sponsored by NetN, though if they want to,
If you are hearing, yeah, feel free to sponsor us.
exactly. But today is all about Manthan, who makes NetN workflows actually make sense. So a little bit about here, you have your workspace, which is like your digital desk where you everything happens, and then nodes, which are the individual actions or steps like sending an email or pulling data from Google Sheets. Then there is a trigger which starts the workflow when something happens, and then the flow, which is the full sequence that actually gets things done. Can you talk a bit about how you think explaining text clearly here and why breaking it down into these building blocks make it easier for people to actually implement automation by themselves?
Yeah, again, it's just like I cannot start straight away talking about webhooks and HTTP request, because
Yeah,
for non-technical people, it will be mind-boggling for them. That's
mhm,
why again, just when your automation is going to start, so that will be your trigger, as in like it will initiate your workflow or launch your workflow.
yeah,
Either it could be someone filling out form on your website that will initiate initiate the workflow. And let's take this example of workflow as lead research. So you have a form on your website, someone fills out it with their company domain, with their LinkedIn URL, and our workflow will execute once the form has been submitted. Then our AI agents or those web scraper will research about our lead. Then we can
Yeah.
have another AI agent that will make sure that is it qualifying, or is it like right prospect for our business. And if they are, it will add it to our Google Sheet. So that's the entire flow of our workflow. If we break it down, it will be node by node. So first node will be the webhook node, second will be our researcher node, third will be qualifying node, and the last will be adding to our CRM, or where, for example, in our example, Google Sheet. So that's the entire thing. Then I can move forward into what type of call command we will be needing for our HTTP request, what will be the API endpoints. So that's for later part of the stage. We need to have at least a story, like, hey, this is our problem and this is how we are going to solve it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Understanding your problem statement and build
Hmm.
workflows around it. Now we are almost running out of time here. And before we close this segment, last question for anyone who is listening or just starting out with automation. So, for young entrepreneurs listening today, what advice would you give to start building their ideas now?
Yeah, so if you are 18, I would say like you don't need to rush into anything. I still believe like 18 is a very young age, or they are just like teenagers. And
Yeah,
if I were 18, I wouldn't have any clarity on where the world is moving or what I wanted to be doing for rest of my life. So just take your time, fall into your initial curiosity. Talking
yeah,
about my perspective, I'm a very curious person. I really love to learn new things every single day. So having those type of mentality or having those type of curious natures, like, because I cannot say like just start automation, it's not for everyone. I was curious, you might be not. So just fall into your natural curiosity, double down on that, and then form your basis what you're going to do for rest of your life. So again, like if you're just getting started, just understand the space. Don't get
yeah.
started straight away. Just understand the vision or the end goal, or what you want to accomplish at the end of the day. So that's my advice will be.
Absolutely, it's a great advice, and you have said it. Creativity and curiosity you cannot delegate to LLMs or AI. You know that is something you have to work on yourself.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only outlier effect. That's the only outlier thing we human possess as compared to LLMs.
And I'm sure LLM or any AI, AGI, I don't think they can have. I'm not talking about AGI, but AI they cannot have it.
Yeah, so that's I genuinely believe Sam Altman it has really kind of created that FOMO or notion that we are moving to AGI, and have always disappointed us with new feature updates. So I believe he has done a really bad job at forming the basis of AGI. Yeah, for him it could be AGI, for me it could be not. It's a very relative word, to be honest. There is no clear definition for it. But yeah, with every another launch, he is telling like we are moving to AGI, where in just real example, we are limited into a chat interface.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hard skills you can learn as you go on a job, but these two soft skills, especially creative thinking and curiosity, nothing can beat it. Absolutely. Manthan, thank you again for your time. It's been such a pleasure hearing your story and learning from your experiences. I think we should do part two where we can talk elaborative about tech. I would love to do that with you.
100%, I would love that as well.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing your journey, insights, and practical tips. I'm super excited to see what you build next now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the moon. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your
Yeah, thanks
time.
for having me.
Thank you.